All right, it is that on? You sure that's okay, there it goes. It's still really light. Usually I hear it. All right, man, bring out a little bit of rain and some people stay home. It's kind of a lighter crowd than what it has been, it seems like anyway, I don't know. Some people didn't know what that rain was. That wet stuff falling out of the sky. I mean, it seems like we either get it or we don't get it. And that's where we're at right now, I guess. But anyway, good to have you here tonight. Couple of announcements just to go over with you this evening. River Trace Bible Study is tomorrow. If you'd like to go over and help them be a part of that ministry, you can. And let's see, also Mike's Farm payments are now due, but we're also looking at, we may have about at least four, maybe six tickets available. Now remember this, we pre-ordered them, so we have them and I can't get refunds back. So I have about 6 tickets. So if you know of somebody that would like to go, have somebody that would like to do that, we have those available. It's still the same cost as everything, but we have about 6 right now if you know of somebody that would like to go. This Sunday is our North American missions offering. This is for our home missions in the United States, Canada, Mexico, and North America. And so we're going to have a special offering for them. And this is not just us as a church, but this is what they're doing all over the country with all Free Will Baptist churches. This is just North American Missions Offering Sunday. And so we're going to take up a special offering for that. So please come prepared for that if you can. Sunday night after the service, one of my favorite things is we're having our women's ministry cake and pie auction Sunday night after the service. Be over in the Family Life Center. It's a good time for you to get some goodies for Thanksgiving time. It's also it's a good time for if you want to bring some on Tuesday night, because on Tuesday night is our Thanksgiving chili cook-off night, and we'll be having next Tuesday night we'll be having our service, everything going on over in the Family Life Center. We will not have service next Wednesday night, and so we'll be over there for that. So please come prepared for that. If you haven't signed up, if you can bring chili, bring some chili. We want to make sure we have plenty of chili out there for this special evening. Some prayer requests to go over with you. There's still several unspoken prayer requests. I bring them up each week. Pray for our unsaved family members and loved ones. We all have those. Pray for those who may be sick. This with the weather going up and down, the temperature going up and down. It's just a time people are getting sniffles again. Pray for especially, we have a few people in our church that do this, but they work outside in the weather, and so it really affects them a lot. And so just keep those in your prayers as well. Pray for our classes that are going on right now in Awana and teens, our young adult classes. It's going on throughout the facility. Just pray for them. Continue to pray for V. Diaz's mother up in Maryland. Don Edwards' son Mike, going through a lot of different issues. And his friend Grace, who has stage 4 cancer. Continue to pray for Abby Walker, a missionary in Japan. She's just been really busy. She's got basketball and she's got church, and she's got children's church, and she's got young adult ministry, and she's got just all this stuff that's happening right now. Plus, it seems like she says about every day she gets a ring at the doorbell of somebody delivering something, because she's ordered a bunch of furniture and different things that are coming to her house, and they show up. And if you're not home, they don't leave it on the porch. They take it because they don't want to leave it outside. That's disrespectful, and so they take it with them. And so she has to be home for them to deliver it. So. She's getting random doorbell rings, and she's like, "What is this? Oh, yeah, that's what I need." So it's different things. Also, continue to pray for Miss Margie McGowan. Miss Margie, if you got a phone call, she fell, busted her head. She had some stitches placed in. She is back in Vanceboro, and so she's staying with her niece down there. One of the things that was mentioned to me, just for your sake, just to know that's I'm trying to throw 3 things all at once here, but she probably will not be going back to her home here in Washington. She'll probably be staying with her niece in Vanceboro from now on. She's just 94 years old, and she's fallen twice here in the last couple of months and hurt herself pretty good, and so she's probably going to be staying there. I mentioned last week about some addresses and some things. I do have that list available. Barbara has it. We can email it to you. We can run a copy of it if we need to. But we do have that list if you'd like to get that. And the reason I brought that up also is because Miss Margie's phone number and address where she's at in Vanceboro is on that. And so if you wanted to send her a card or do something, so that is on there. See where I'm at. Miss Barbara Stocks, continue to pray for her. She's over here still. She struggles with her breathing, and so just keep her in your prayers. Miss Margie Woollards, Miss Sandra Buck, Jean Smith, Miss Chris Sadler, Juanita Clark, Bob and Jan Burrows, Miss Jan. She had her surgery on her leg. Everything went well. She's going to be in therapy. The therapy is going to be happening in Greenville at the inpatient therapy area there at the hospital. Just, if you're looking at the hospital, you got all the cancer stuff, heart stuff over here, the main hospital here, the children's place here, and then the therapy is over here on the far left. And so she'll be back there. I don't know how long, but she'll be there at least for a few weeks going through therapy. So just remember her in your prayers. Also, Brother Bob, just keep him in your prayers. And what they said, their words, when it rains, it pours. And so he had a spot on his head that they did a testing on, and they found out he did have some skin cancer on his head. So he's going to have to go through some things with that as well. So just one thing right after another that keeps happening. Just keep Bob and Jan in your prayers. Any phone calls or cards or visits or anything would probably give them encouragement as well. Miss Marie Maness, continue to pray for her as well. Eddie Moss and his kidneys. He's also still recovering from his knee surgery. He was at church Sunday. I don't know if he overdid it or not, but he was hurting pretty good. So just keep Mr. Eddie in your prayers as well. Miss Beverly Adams' sister and her health issues, and her granddaughter going through depression issues. Julie Smith's sister in hospice. Lois Corey's boys and her husband Hardy Ray Sr. Timothy Webster's mother who's struggling with Alzheimer's. Billy Campbell's sister who has Alzheimer's, trying to get her moved to a closer facility. Latest news, even after this went to print here, is she's supposed to be moving here next Friday, a week from this Friday. So the Friday after Thanksgiving, she should be moved here into a new place that's closer here in Washington. Brother Billy wanted me to tell you thank you for your prayers and continue to pray for her in this whole situation. But that is an answer to prayer that she's getting moved. We just hope nothing happens in the next week. So just can keep them in your prayers. Eric Pushman, a friend of mine in Tennessee who has leukemia. I posted, if you have Facebook, I posted just a letter that he wrote on to Facebook. He gives a story. It's a long, if you click on the link, it goes to a blog that he wrote. And he just made this blog out here that just says, hey, here's my story. Here's where I'm at and what's been going on with him. He's still struggling. He's getting a little better, getting some strength up, but it's been a struggle for him. And he didn't say this, but I'll tell you, he's a big guy. He's tall and large. And so when his legs are out, it took him a while to get a lot of the strength back and things get going on him. But he's a great guy. Chuck Warren. He went through his cancer surgery yesterday. They got in. It was not all the news that they were hoping to get. They did do a few things, but they weren't able to do everything that they planned on. And so they're going to plan B now. And we'll fill you in on more of that as that comes along. But just continue to pray for Chuck. He was doing a lot better today. He went through some different things because where they cut him, he still got to go through some healing from those things, and so just keep him in your prayers. Richard James' friend Maria and her heart problems, and his stepson's wife Kayla Bailu down in Texas, keep them in your prayers. Marty Martin's grandson Malachi, continue to pray for him. Miles Alzad, he seems to be doing a little bit better right now. As far as today, he still has a lot of health problems, but keep him in your prayers. I saw him actually this afternoon for a few minutes, and so just keep them in your prayers. Gwen Harris's uncle, who is in stage 4 cancer, and then her co-worker Ariel, who has some medical issues. David Fix, continue to pray for his elbow and back. His back is going great. All right, we'll take back off. Just continue to pray for his elbow for right now till he tells me to quit. Carol Harris's friend Reagan, who's going through chemotherapy. Julie Smith's niece, Sue Mosley, who has non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Larry Gillum's left eye had blurred vision there. His friend Ronnie Lupton. And then if you got my one call this afternoon, Brother Larry was at home getting the Christmas tree down out of the attic and was carrying it downstairs. And he lost his balance going down the stairs in the house, not outside. But he lost his balance going down the stairs, fell about 8 stairs, and landed on his head. And he had, when I saw him earlier, he had a knot on his head, size of a grapefruit, just about looked like, but it was pretty nasty. They did do a CAT scan, said everything went well or looked okay, and they had 2 stitches and a staple in it for now. It's still bleeding some. They're trying to get that figured out why, and then she'll update me as they get further along. But that's where they were now, or the last 30 minutes. So just continue to pray for Larry. It's just it seems like Larry and Brenda sometimes it's another. They're another. When it rains, it pours. Sometimes it just keeps coming and hitting them. So just keep them in your prayers. Ed Ottoman and his heart issues. Continue to pray for him. Diana Smith and her ongoing health problems. She has some good days, good weeks, and then it seems like she goes down for several weeks, and then it just goes back and forth. Just keep Miss. So right now she's going through pneumonia, stomach problems, so just a real struggle there. Gene Meekins, who's on chemotherapy, Earl Queen and his heart, Jesse Smith's friend Blaney Taylor, Miss Dot Foreman and her neck issues, Terry Woolard, who's still recovering from his stroke, Rebecca Heller, some health issues, Ed and Carol Harris. Ed has been admitted into the Alzheimer's unit at River Trace earlier today, and it's a tough time for Carol having to do this. It's not something that she really wanted to do, but something that was needed. And so keep them in your prayers. Brother Daniel and I went and picked up a recliner at their home, took it over to the nursing home so that he would have something familiar at home or there with them. So just keep them in your prayers today. I know Miss Carol's just a little struggle with that. Continue to pray for Mr. Bobby and some physical pains and these that he's been having. Randy Varney's stepdaughter, bad health. Wayne Hardison and his broken shoulder. Again, we mentioned Jan Burrows. And then Dennis and Deborah Hawkins' daughter who has some health-related problems. Just keep her in your prayers. Anything else? Yes, sir, Bobby?
Going me, in 95 I had busted disc in my lower back and it fixed that. Down through the years it's got worse and worse and worse. They operate on my hands, and ever since then these 3 fingers, both hands gets really numb and aches. I mean, it wakes me up in the nighttime, she'll tell you that. I sleep 90% of the time when I sleep is in the recliner. I call back and talk, and the doctor that I have, she wants to keep increasing my dosage. So I keep calling back. I said, listen, for pain. She said, well, keep taking these. I do about these something before to see the what is it called? Orthopedic upstairs about getting my knee done again. She wants me to go down and do a drug test and then send me out to community care and do some, what do you call it? Therapy.
Okay.
Is that any good for lower back busted disc therapy? Do you know anything about it?
Hey, you guys have that conversation after. All right.
It's not going to help anything.
Okay.
A lot of it's inherited too.
I got it. So anyway.
All right. So his fingers, his knee, his back, a lot of stuff. I mean, he just hurting quite a bit. A lot of stuff happening. Mr. Phil?
Currently is scheduled for total left hip replacement first thing in the morning, December the 16th.
I thought you were about to say first thing in the morning. I'm thinking, why are you? Don't have that long of a pause in between. December 16th. All right, Miss Beverly. Lois?
I know hard raised on comparisons. This is for something. Hard rate fell on the sticks, but back sticks. He was locking the door in the panel. When he turned around, he lost his balance the last step or two. He's okay. He's sore. But he's okay. Just pray that it did break anything that we know of.
All right. So Hardy Ray, Corey fell down some steps as well. He's sore, but he's okay, so that's good. But just keep him in your prayers. All right.
One of the fears is as we get older, the fear of falling and really hurting ourselves.
That's where all folks say.
And Phil fell on the escalator in Amsterdam while we were gone.
I'm telling you, all folks don't have the business with stairs.
We don't have any business walking most of the time.
So, we figure that, we always talk about all the things that's going to be in heaven. One of the things that may not be in heaven is stairs. We'll see. All right. So, but they may have a whole lot of stairs in hell. So, just saying. You never know. All right. All right. Anything else? Yes.
Friend of ours, Joni Monroe, had breast cancer, or got diagnosed with breast cancer, had double mastectomy. Her sister asked if we put her on a prayer list. She is going through chemo and has some setbacks and stuff with that. So she's in her 30s, later 30s.
All right, Adrian and Heather's friend, Joni Monroe, is taking chemo, had some setbacks from previous cancer surgery, so keep her in your prayers as well. Also, pray for Ashley and Elizabeth. They are in Black Mountain. He texted me earlier today, said they were able to deliver a bunch of things that they took with them. He said things were going well, but just keep them in your prayers. And then also, Adrian and Heather and their family are going to be going up to Black Mountain here Friday. So just keep them in your prayers as they travel as well. All right. Anything else? All right. Well, let's pray. God, thank you so much for all that you do for us. Thank you for your love. Thank you for even the rain today. God, it's been a while since we've had some good rain. We thank you for the rain outside. And so, God, we just thank you for that. And thank you for this time of year, a time of Thanksgiving where we can try to remember all of the blessings and all of the things that you have given us. And so, God, I pray that we will be thankful, even when we hurt and even when we have the sniffles and even when we're in a hospital room and even when we're just not feeling good at all. Lord, help for us to always remember your faithfulness to us and the things that you have done for us. And so, God, we thank you for those things. God, I pray for these requests, the ones that we have mentioned on our regular list, and then also, God, for Miss Beverly, as she's having hip surgery coming up next month. God, I pray that things will go very well with that, and she'll have a good recovery from that. Also for Joni Monroe, who was mentioned, Lord, who had cancer surgery, but now she's had some setbacks. She's going through chemo again, Lord. I just pray that you will be with her and just give her some healing, give her some encouragement that she needs. God, for Hardy Ray, as he fell, we're thankful that he is not hurt, but we pray that nothing will come later that we don't know about now. God, for Larry Gillum over at the hospital, Lord, and I pray that the swelling will go down on his head, that he'll not have any other injuries from this, just the stitches that he had. And so, God, I thank you that you were there with them today during that. God, for Miss Jan, I'm thankful that she is able to go to the rehab unit there in Greenville. I pray that things will go well with that and that she'll have some healing from that. Also be with Brother Bob as he got this news about this spot on his head. Lord, I just pray that you'll be with him as well. God, there's just so many things that requests that we're making known to you tonight, Lord. Just so many people who are sick, so many people that going through different things, Lord. God, I just pray that you will encourage them. God, tonight also I just want to pray for encouragement for Miss Carol Harris. I know that she's struggling. I know that she's having a hard day today. But God, I just pray that you'll show your presence to her. Make it known. Make her feel your love. And God, help her to know that we're praying for her. And so, God, I pray that you'll send encouragement her way. So, God, we love you. We thank you for your blessings. We thank you for all of these things. In Jesus' name, amen. Oh, I also put on the back, if you want to take it home, I don't know if anybody's using these or not. If they're not, I won't waste paper on them anymore. But these are hotline prayer and praise things from our missions. Again, I get an email every Tuesday from them, so I'm just hitting print and printing it out so that you guys can see what's going on with some of our Free Will Baptist missionaries around the world and things that are happening with them. All right, as we're getting close to Thanksgiving next week, can you believe next Thursday is Thanksgiving? All right, so that leads us to our bad jokes of the day. How does Thanksgiving always end? It always ends with a G. See, look, Thanksgiving, there's a G. You don't put an S on the end because it would be Thanksgivings, and so it's just Thanksgiving. All right. How does the cider mill, you know what a cider mill is, how does a cider mill keep track of its inventory? On an iPad. Think about that for a minute. I could have said an Apple iPad, but that's why I put the logo up there. All right, on an iPad, they keep track of it at an Apple cider mill. All right. That must have been really good. All right. Tonight will be our last night looking at some different things. Brought this up a few weeks ago. Free Will Baptist, we're looking at some different things about our logo. We've looked at some different things about our national agencies, about some commissions that we have, some groups that do things, our partners. One of the things that's really cool with some partners that we have, when I went to Bulgaria last month, I'm trying to think of how far along. It seems like that was forever ago now. Last month, went to Bulgaria. One of our teammates flew from Pakistan to Bulgaria and met us in Bulgaria and worked with us all week, and then he flew back to Pakistan. And so I've been trying to keep in touch with him some, just asking how it's going, praying for him, different things. He fills me in. And I already knew about this because part of our partnership, his dad is a pastor of a Free Will Baptist church in Pakistan. We don't have missionaries in Pakistan because we can't send missionaries to Pakistan. But his dad had a church. He wanted to partner with our Free Will Baptist denomination. We checked into things. Everything was in agreement, and so we are trying to partner with them to help them if we can and as needed. And one of the things that they started, and Mikhail even told me about this just a couple days ago, was they were building a facility to be able to help Pakistan people with learning how to do jobs. One of the different jobs like hair or plumbing or different stuff, different things for women, some different things for men, and they're trying to learn some different things because what happens is they go out into the world as Christians and they try to get a job doing something, say, hey, we'll train you, but in the training that it takes for them, they end up becoming slaves to those people own them. And so they never can get out of debt. They never can do anything as far as education, as far as anything like that. And so what they have done is a Christian growth community is what they're trying to do. And so they built this school with the help of Free Will Baptist partners, people who have sent money in specifically for this, and they built this school. And I just saw yesterday some pictures of some people in the school learning some trades, and it's just a really neat thing. And that's what our Free Will Baptist partners are. It's not that we have missionaries there, it's just they're partnering with us because they can't do everything by themselves. They may need a little bit of financial help. They may need prayer help. We may can send someone over there occasionally to do some different things, but they can't stay there. And so it's just very interesting to hear from him about what's going on there firsthand. And so that's just been a neat thing. We also have started talking about our Free Will Baptist Catechism. And a catechism is simply question and answer document used as a tool to teach truths about God and the Bible. We use it for students. We use it for ourselves just so we can learn some different things. And we've gone through the first 39 of the 60 questions, and tonight we're going to look at the last ones, number 40 through 60. And these all focus on one thing, and so it's kind of an easier night for that. But we're going to start with number 40. what are the 10 Commandments, or where are the 10 Commandments found in the Bible? So somebody, you got an answer for that?
Exodus and Deuteronomy.
Exodus chapter 20, but also it's found in a lesser known place in Deuteronomy chapter 5. And so both of those are there together. And so tonight, as we've done before, I'm going to have you read some verses. But the good thing is this: there's only two places to look: Deuteronomy chapter 5 and Exodus chapter 20, because all of our verses will come from those two areas. And so we'll be looking at those. But we always go to Exodus. Exodus is where, he received the 10 Commandments and he got those things, and that's where we always remember. But Deuteronomy has them as well. And so we're going to look at both of them as we go through this. So the first thing is this: what is the first commandment? All right. I'm kind of hearing it, but I'm going to go ahead and let you guys read this. Deuteronomy chapter 5. Somebody read for me verse 6 and 7 from Deuteronomy 5.
Did you say 6 and 7?
Yes, ma'am.
I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage. Thou shalt have none other gods before me.
All right. Exodus 20, verse 2 and 3.
I am the Lord thy God, who have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
All right, so the first commandment is what? Thou shalt have no other gods before me. All right, let me ask you. I had a good question I was going to ask you, and now okay. What is the Pentateuch? First five books of the Bible. Can anybody say those? Several of you can. I've heard it go through here. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Who wrote the first five books of the Bible? Moses. So Moses wrote Exodus, that we just looked at, and then, which is the second book, and he also wrote Deuteronomy, which is the fifth book. So Moses wrote both of these things that we're reading here. Moses wrote in here. So that I want you to just kind of get that as a little brief, remembering when you read these things, because they're pretty much just alike. But I wanted you to see them, and we're going to talk a little more after the fact about something. But Moses wrote them, and he wrote them second book of the Bible, fifth book of the Bible, and we'll look more at that. What does the first commandment mean?
We worship only God.
Worship only God. So the first commandment directs us to worship God only and to glorify Him as God. But to worship Him only, there's other things that you can look at, other things that that sometimes we worship other things. Think about that for a minute. What are some things that we worship? Money. Jobs, family, things, time, hobbies. I heard something over here, I didn't know what it was. Boats, okay. Any material things.
I think of worship, I think of something you pray to.
Okay, something you pray to, that's part of it, but it's not always.
I don't pray for money, I just pray to God.
But, right, I don't look at it necessarily as always being just prayer, because worship can be in different forms. When we sing in church, that is a form of worshiping God. We're singing. When we pray, we're talking to God. That's a form of worship. When we're reading our Bible, we're communing with God and hearing what God is telling to us. That is a form of worship. When we obey the commands that God has given us, we are worshiping God through obeying His commandments. So there's a lot of different ways to worship, but anything that we put before God, He says, is wrong. He says, listen, worship God only. Thou shalt have no other gods, nothing else in front of me. So don't put anything else in front of me, whatever that other thing is. I think, listen, now this is where a lot of the things that you mentioned, I believe, are true and correct. I have no problem with that, but I think there's also some little things like worry. I think we can put worry before God. I think we can put fear before God. And there's a lot of those things that we put before him, and God says, listen, when you get scared, when you are worrying about something, remember me. Put me first. Remember what I have done for you. And so he said, listen, first commandment, no other gods. All right? What is the second commandment? No graven image. All right, so go back to Deuteronomy and Exodus. Look at verse 8, 9, and 10 in Deuteronomy 5. Somebody read that.
You shall not make for yourself an image in the form of anything in heaven above, or on the earth beneath, or in the waters below. You shall not bow down to them or worship them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, punishing the children for the sin of the parents to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me, but showing love to 1,000 generations of those who love me and keep my commandments.
All right. Exodus chapter 20, verses 4, 5, and 6.
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generations of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments.
All right, so we look through this. This is the second commandment. So what is the second commandment? No graven image. All right, so what does the second commandment mean? You guys,
Like Baal that they were worshiping when Moses come off the mountain.
like Baal that they were worshiping?
Don't be a Roman Catholic.
They were worshiping the golden calf, and there was a god Baal. So there's two of them like that. So, okay, so basically the second commandment just means that in the worship of God, we must not use any images, anything. We don't place an image to make God. We don't. God's already there. He is He is created. He's there. I don't know. He's created. He is. He is. And so is, was, always has been. And so we create something that we worship for him. Now, I think that could go into uses of, well, our church. We come to church. It's the only place I can worship. No, then you're worshiping the church. The church is just the people. It's the building that we come here as a people to come and worship him. We don't worship this facility and people and different things. And there's also idols. I've been in Africa in different villages and to where they have different idols that they put up and they worship, and they could have more than one in their home, different idols that they worship for different things. And God said, listen, don't make any graven image. Don't put any other idols before. Worship me and me alone. I'm a jealous God. And I will put the sins of the fathers down on the second and third generation. Hey, listen, don't do these things. So he gives us a good, ample warning, and it's in here twice. All right, what is the third commandment? Anybody got that one? All right, so let's look at that. Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 11. Somebody read that.
Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain.
All right, Exodus 20, verse 7.
Same thing.
Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord would not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain.
All right, so he said it here twice, two different places. And so we see that, and he says, listen, don't take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. What does the third commandment mean?
That we must always respect and revere the name of God.
Don't
All right.
blaspheme.
So it says,
Blaspheme.
it basically says, listen, we must always, God's name must always be used with respect, with reverence. Now listen, do we always do that? Now, I was a youth pastor for a long time, and hey, and I've grown up saying things and doing things and stuff, but I really believe words matter. And God said, here's a word that matters. Don't use it in vain. Now, something happens, and we put our hands in our pocket, and we come out, oh, Jesus, I can't believe is that taking his name in vain? If somebody comes up and says, did you see that manatee down in the river? Oh my gosh. Are we taking his name in vain? Are we using his name with respect and with reverence that it deserves? See, I don't believe we are. We have to be careful. Now, there are some people who say, well, I've always said that, and I know I've tried. It's hard. I can't do it. I can't change. I'm too old to change. God says, don't take it in vain. We need to work on changing those things. Lois?
I had a cousin that went to school, Bible college, and he told us, I will never forget it. He said, you're not supposed to say gosh and stuff. He said, wow. That's what the teachers say, wow.
There are things where I will say, oh, my Buddha. My Buddha. It's a graven image. I'm taking that name in vain, not my God's. I also will say, I can't remember how I say it, but my Lanta. I'll just say, my Lanta. You know, that's just medicine. But
Somebody sneezes, we say, God bless you.
I don't know that you're taking it in vain there. I mean, it's kind of can be a little respect. God bless. I hope God blesses you. I don't even say that. I just say, Gesundheit. Or sometimes I just say, bless you. But I think, you know, and again, I don't think it's something that's going to necessarily send you straight to hell because you did it. But I think you need to be careful with how you do it.
You gotta fall back on Philippians 1:6. I mean, I think God overlooks ignorance, pure ignorance, and we're all ignorant in the eyes of God to a point. And we all have our thing.
We have our things and we have stuff, but that doesn't mean we can't change.
That's right. So I'm still on Philippians 1:6.
And so I think we have to be careful because, again, specifically, when God gave Moses the 10 Commandments, God specifically said, don't take my name in vain. Don't do it.
It could be the tone of your voice and the context in which you say it.
I think it's a lot of it as well. Yes, the tone and the context plays a lot into it as well. Again, going back to God bless you, tone and context. But I think we just need to be careful and find some other words. I've had to find a lot of other words for different things. My Lanta, Buddha, all those things. You know, hey, I figure everybody else takes my God's name in vain. I'll just use Buddha. And so we just do these things. But we got to be careful with things because he does give it as a commandment specifically here. What is the fourth commandment? All right, so let's look at that. Deuteronomy chapter 5. Somebody read 12 through 15. I told you it's only 2 passages, so everybody should be there. If you got one, you should already be there. All right, so Deuteronomy 5, 12 through 15.
Keep the Sabbath day to sanctify it, as the Lord thy God hath commanded thee. 11
Through 15, 12 through 15.
6 days thou shalt labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work. Nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy ox, nor thy ass, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within the gates, that thy manservant and thy maidservant may rest as well. And remember that thou wast a servant in the land of Egypt, and that the Lord thy God brought thee out of thence through a mighty hand and by a stretched out arm. Therefore the Lord thy God commanded thee to keep the Sabbath day.
All right. Exodus chapter 20, verse 8 through 11.
Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all of your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you shall do any work, neither you, nor your son, your daughter, nor your male or female servant, nor your animals, nor any foreigner residing in your towns. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them. But he rested on the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the seventh day and made it holy.
All right. So when we look at this, the fourth commandment is to remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. What does that mean?
Rest from thy labor.
Rest from labor, have a day of rest. Be respectful of the day. The fourth commandment instructs us to keep one day in 7 as a special day of worship set apart from the other 6 days. So we remember those things. But we also have to understand and know that in the Christian era, or today, right now, the new covenant that we're under now in the New Testament, that this Sabbath day is Sunday in celebration of Jesus' resurrection on that day. So Sabbath day, basically Old Testament, was Saturday, and that's when they had their day of rest, the last day of the week. And so now when in the New Testament, Jesus rose from the dead on the first day of the week, we celebrate his resurrection every Sunday by remembering the Sabbath day and keeping it holy.
You still do it on Saturday though, right?
A lot of Jewish people who do not accept Jesus as Messiah will still have their Sabbath on Saturday. Seventh-day Adventists will do things on that day as well. I know that where we were at Bible College in Nashville, at Welch College, behind the college, kind of connected somewhat, was a Jewish synagogue, and they had a daycare, and they had a lot of kids that played out there. But if one of their little beanies fell off of their head, they couldn't pick it up. And so there would be you'd see them on the ground every so often because you have to be careful with it. There's a lot of things that they have in there. I took a tour through a Jewish synagogue. They told us all of these things and how they did it. But they still practice Saturday as the Sabbath day because they don't give Jesus the resurrection day. Right. He's a good man, great guy, but not the Messiah. What's the fifth commandment? Honor your father and mother. All right, so Deuteronomy 5:16.
Honor your father and your mother, that the Lord your God has commanded you, so that you may live long, and that it may go well with you in the land the Lord your God has given you.
All right, Exodus 20:12.
Honor your father and mother, that your days may be long in the land that the Lord your God is giving you.
All right, it's very simple. Honor your father and mother. What does this mean?
Respect. Obedience.
All right, the fifth commandment here is directing us to show proper respect and obedience to our parents. And I think by extension here, and what our catechism even mentions, by extension here, the commandment also instructs us to show proper respect to those with legitimate authority over us. Our parents are in authority over us, and we need to respect them and be obedient to them. All right, what is the sixth commandment? Look at Deuteronomy 5:17 and somebody Exodus 20:13. Somebody read Deuteronomy 5:17. Thou shalt not murder. Exodus 20:13. Thou shalt not kill. Depending on the version that you use, it says thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not murder. All right? So we see that. I was here, okay. It says thou shalt not kill. What does that mean? What does this mean? All right? don't kill someone out of anger, don't kill, it's obvious, but what we see here, what about military?
That's what I was even gonna say. If you're in war, you're going to.
All right, I think what this is teaching us here, it says murder. I think there's different respects, but I think when all of it comes down to it, it's teaching us that human life is sacred. And he said we should use all lawful means of preserving human life, both ours and others, all lawful means. Whatever we can do to prevent it, do to prevent it. And it's wrong, he says here, basically to commit murder. We shouldn't just go out and murder someone. So we have to be careful with those things.
Is that why the Quakers, that they couldn't be or wouldn't be drafted or whatever?
It could be that I'm not familiar with, so possibly. What is the seventh commandment? All right, Deuteronomy 5:18. It's real simple.
Neither should I commit adultery.
All right, Exodus 20:14.
You shall not commit adultery.
All right, so it's very simple, very specific, right straight to the point, doesn't add a bunch of stuff with it. So he basically says, thou shalt not commit adultery. All right, what does this mean?
In our marriage vows, one of the vows that we took was to remain faithful at all times. And I think that's important, that should be in there. For all things, absolute faithfulness.
See, the seventh commandment means the marriage covenant, not just the marriage vows, but the marriage covenant that you're making with your spouse before God, this covenant that you're making, is to be guarded from any sexual impurities. You have to guard yourself with these things. Husbands and wives are to be faithful to one another. This is what God is commanding. He said, listen, don't commit adultery. Don't guard yourself, protect yourself. Don't do these things. Be faithful to each other. And we also can see in the book of, I'm not going to get into this, but in the book of Revelation, he's talking about the great adulteress and the Jezebel and the things that are there, where he's talking about how many churches have committed adultery against God. And so there's that correspondence that they haven't remained faithful. And he says, listen, remain faithful, husbands and wives. What is the eighth commandment? Very short verse again, 5:19, Deuteronomy.
You shall not steal.
All right, Exodus 20:15.
Shall not steal.
All right, very simple. Again, I know it's 3 words, but I still want you to read it because it's in the Bible. And I want us to know, hey, it's here, and it's here twice. All right? So this eighth commandment is, thou shalt not steal. What does that mean?
If it doesn't belong to you, don't take it.
One of my, I've told you before, I have 5 rules that you go by. One of them is, if it's not yours, don't touch it. All right? But the eighth commandment teaches us that private ownership must be respected and not be violated in any way. It's not yours. Don't touch it. All right? It's pretty simple there. What's the ninth commandment? All right, so let's read that. 5:20, Exodus or Deuteronomy 5:20.
Neither shalt thou bear false witness against thy neighbor.
All right. Exodus 20:16. All right, so he says, don't bear false witness against your neighbor. What does that mean?
Don't lie about it.
Tell the truth.
All right, we could say don't lie, but I think one of the main things that he's trying to direct us to do is, listen, always tell the truth. Just tell the truth. Don't sit there and try to make something up. Don't embellish it. Don't, oh, it's a white lie, it's a black lie. I don't think Jesus said anything about differences between lies. He just says, tell the truth. Truth sometimes hurts, but tell the truth. The truth may get you in trouble, but tell the truth, he says. It's important to tell the truth, is what he's telling us. Gossip Gossip sometimes is true. So you're telling the truth, but you have to be careful in how you do it. He said, don't gossip. Gossip is another, it's not in the Ten Commandments, but gossip is another thing where guys say, hey, listen, don't be out there gossiping. Watch your tongue. Be careful with those things.
Scripture also says very clearly that, now I lost my train of thought. Either Jesus or God said very specifically that he hates liars.
Right. Well, it also says, Revelation 21:8, that liars will find their place in the lake of fire, in hell. So liars, he doesn't like liars at all. But he's saying, listen, don't bear false witness, tell the truth. You ran into that car, tell the truth. Just be honest. Tell the truth. All right, what is the 10th commandment? Covetousness, all right? Deuteronomy 5:21.
You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, you shall not set your desire in your neighbor's house or land, his male or female servant, his ox or his donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor.
Exodus 20:17.
You shall not covet your neighbor's house, you shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or his manservant, or maidservant, his ox, or donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor.
So if it's not yours, don't touch it, but don't covet it as well. All right? He said, thou shalt not covet. That's the 10th commandment. What does this mean?
Be content with what you have and don't long to have somebody else's.
All right, exactly. The 10th commandment is instructing us to be content with the things that we have. Don't be longing for other things. Don't be wanting somebody else's. Oh, man, they got a new car. I want a new car. I wish I could have a new car. How come I can't have a new car? I just want it. I want that stuff so bad. And we just covet it. And he said, listen, be happy. Be thankful for what you have. All right? So I was looking at something. That is our Free Will Baptist Catechism. Those are the 60 questions. We've gone through all of those. We've looked at each one as we've gone through it. I think it's important for us to remember these things and to know these things and go through it every so often. And what I found interesting is that according to the biblical narrative here, and this is why I had us read it twice, the time between Exodus 20, where the 10 Commandments were first given when Moses come down off of the mountain, and in Deuteronomy 5, where they are repeated, is approximately 40 years. We see that through history and biblical narratives that we read. That's the time, it says about 40 years between these two. This represents the time that the Israelites spent wandering in the wilderness after leaving Egypt before they went into the promised land. All right? This repetition in Deuteronomy is seen as a way to re-emphasize the importance of the laws to a new generation of Israelites that were coming in. Because you remember, as they were wondering, hey, we're going to wander around until this generation has died, and this new generation will be the ones that will go into the promised land. You're not going in, your children will. So now that these people have passed, let's go in here and let's retell this story again. Moses is preparing to die. He's preparing to be gone. He's not going to be the leader anymore. And so he's saying, listen, I want to share this with you again in Deuteronomy 5. After repeating the 10 Commandments in Deuteronomy 5, Moses goes into Deuteronomy 6. Okay, Darren, this is all one big old dissertation, one big speech. And he starts in chapter 5, or he's in chapter 5. He says, here's the 10 Commandments again. And he goes through all 10 of those. And he goes through some different things, and he gets into chapter 6, and he says, listen, teach these things diligently to your children and to your children's children. Write them on the walls. Speak of them as you walk down the path. Speak of this all the time. They should be on the frontlets of your eyes. You should know all of these things. Remember this stuff. This is the last time I'm going to be telling you these things. So remember the commandments that God has given you. Teach these to your children. Continue these things. And this is what has happened, and they continue to teach this stuff. Now, I want to teach you one thing, and we're going to go. I was a youth pastor for a long time. So I'm going to teach you something. I've tried to teach you this maybe before. Some of you may not know it, and some of you may remember a little bit of it. but an easy way to remember the 10 Commandments. All right? Easy way. It's a little fun. It's a little different, but it's an easy way to remember the 10 Commandments. All right? The first commandment. What is the first commandment? One God. No other gods before me, just one. Just have one God. Don't put any other gods out there. There's only one. Only speak of one. Only think of one. Only do one. There's only one God. One God. Remember that. Number 2 is don't make any graven image. Don't get your scissors out and start cutting up stuff and making things and make an image. So don't do that. One God, no graven images. Number 3, don't take the name of the Lord your God in vain. G-O-D, God. G-O-D, God. Don't take his name in vain. G-O-D. Don't take it in vain. G-O-D. There's 3 letters, and it's number 3. Don't take God's name in vain. G-O-D. Don't take it in vain. What's number 4? Remember the Sunday. All right? Remember the Sabbath day. Remember the Sunday. Keep it holy. The sun rises. You have rays of sunlight coming out from the sun. Here's the sun right here. Here's the rays coming up. Remember the Sunday. All right? Remember the Sunday. What's number 5? Number 5. What is it? Honor your father and mother. High five. High five. See that? Honor your father and mother. That's my father. High five. All right? High five. High five. Remember, honor your father and your mother. High five. What's number 6? No. Don't kill. Don't murder. If this is your knife and this is someone, don't kill them. All right? Don't kill them. Listen, there's one God. There's only one God. Don't make any other images of him. All right? G-O-D, don't take his name in vain. Remember the Sunday. Honor your father and mother. Don't kill. All right? What's number 7? Nope. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Here's the wall. No kissy kissy. All right? 2 people, the wall, go behind the wall, kissy kissy. No kissy kissy. All right? So we remember that. No kissy kissy. What's number 9? Oh, I'm sorry, number 8. Thou shalt not steal. All right? Somebody stole my thumbs. These are my fingers, but somebody stole my thumbs. Don't steal somebody's thumbs, because if you do, you go to jail. All right? You'll be behind bars. Don't do it. Don't steal. All right? Number 9. What's number 9? Don't lie. Don't bear false witness. You ever had a little kid come up to you and say, I promise, these are all my fingers. Is this all of them? No, I'm lying. There's one hidden. Don't lie. Don't say this is all of them when this is not all of them. All right? Number 10. What is number 10? Don't covet. 10, you reach out with both hands and you grab it and you pull it back to yourself. I want it. I want it. I just want it. I'm coveting something that's not mine. I want it. So you remember the 10 Commandments. Number 1, there's only one God. 2, don't make any graven image. 3, G-O-D, don't take God's name in vain. Number 4, remember the Sunday. Number 5, honor your father and mother. All right? Number 6, don't kill. Number 7, no kissy kissy. Number 8, don't steal somebody's thumbs. Number 9, don't lie and tell them this is all of your fingers. And number 10, don't covet and pull it in. See, I could come up, if you remember all of those, I could come up to you and say, hey, what's number 7? No kissy kissy, don't commit adultery. See, you'll remember that. Before I could ask you what's number 7, you'd be like, oh, that's no kiss, no, don't commit adultery. What's number 3? Don't take God's name in vain, G-O-D, all right? What's number 10? Don't covet. I want it, all right? So this is a simple way to remember all 10 of the 10 commandments because they are important for us to remember. But also, here's the thing. These are ways that you can even teach your kids, your grandkids, different people about remembering and learning and knowing what the 10 commandments are in order. And they can also remember them in random order if you say, what's number 4? Remember the Sunday. Keep it holy. See, there's different ways you remember these things by just your fingers on your hand. I don't have no papers, no nothing, just right there, your fingers. All right? Next week, remember, chili supper on Tuesday night. We will not be having anything on Wednesday. So it'll be next Tuesday night over in the Family Life Center, chili supper, and we'll do some things there. All right? Let's pray. God, thank you so much for all that you do for us. Thank you for loving us. And God, I pray that you will help us to remember these things that are important to us as Free Will Baptists in this Free Will Baptist Catechism, but God, also it's important to us just as Christians. Things that we need to know why we believe what we believe. And so, God, I just pray that you will help for us to remember all of these things that we've gone through. And, God, this fun little way of remembering the 10 Commandments, God, it seems like a fun little way, but, God, it's an important thing for us to remember what your word says and be able to teach it to others. And so, God, we love you. We thank you for all that you do for us. In Jesus' name, amen. Hey, and also that little thing, I'm going to give credit where credit's due. John Forrest is a friend of mine. He's a youth pastor. He's 1 year younger than me, and we've been youth pastoring together for years. He taught that, and that's where I learned it from. So it's not original Darren, but I've used it for a long time as well. All right?